Hello, my name is Jess, and this is my professional portfolio design negotiated project about Novaform. So the overview of the brand. So the brand story is Novaform is a contemporary sportswear brand that blends performance with fashion-led design, created for individuals who want to feel confident, comfortable, and empowered. The brand offers activewear that moves with the body while making a bold visual statement, and it celebrates strength in all forms. So the concept as to why I created the brand. So the performance and activewear market are currently lacking in stylish and inclusive clothing designed specifically for creative performance disciplines such as aerial, hoop, pole, silks, and burlesque. Novaform offers high quality inclusive clothing for all genders that combine expressive design with function, supporting performers in movement whilst allowing their individuality and artistry to shine. The goal is to provide stylishly functional and inclusive apparel and accessories for all genders within the performance community. Before fully getting into the target audience and the research, I first had a look at making a timeline for this project. So I created a timeline and I broke it down into research, planning, creating, reviewing, adjusting, and refining. So research, I had a look at the market research, the target audience, creating user personas. Planning, I decided on the product ranges of the brand, and then in the creating stage, I created the logos, what typography that they were going to use. In the next two stages, I constantly got feedback on what looked good and what didn't, and then I adjusted it. And then in the final project, I put it all together to create the mock-ups and present it. So I also had a look at the suitable software to use for this project. So the software that I use, so Adobe Illustrator is used primarily for logo design, typography, and any vector-based graphic because it allows scalability without losing the quality. For any mockups and digital assets, I used Adobe Photoshop. This one's better for raster-based graphics and image editing. And then I also use Microsoft Forms to get any primary research. So the research and the inspiration for the project. So the first competitor that I looked at was Dragonfly. Dragonfly focuses on aerial and pole wear. They offer strong functionality, but there is limited gender options. So there's a very small range of men's options, and there's little to no gender neutral options. From my market research into aerial hoop, pole, burlesque, and aerial silk communities, I found that performers prioritize tight-fitting clothing over baggy. They also prioritize support, durability, and sometimes grip-enhancing features. A recurring theme in my primary and secondary research was confidence. People wanted to feel secure, supported, and expressive at the same time when doing these sports. So for the first part of my primary research, I asked for people's opinions on what an ideal activewear brand should be. So I got them to pick what words would describe their ideal activewear brand and how they want to feel when wearing clothing, which again came up that it was confident and comfortable. The second part of the primary research was what kind of clothes that they would want to wear. And then I used that information to build a mood board to create the best branding possible. So I created a mood board that included textures and images of the sports that the brand is for. I also took note of the results of the primary survey, which was that people wanted dark neutral colours. I made sure to add this in as if the brand was making bright, vibrant colours, but the brand's identity was quite dark and neutral, it would be too much of a contrast. So I wanted to make sure that there was a clear connection between the Novaform logo and the website and the clothes that they sell. So the next thing that I had a look at was the target audience. The target audience for Novaform is people aged roughly 18 to 25 who value empowerment and inclusivity as well as creativity. Psychographically, they are expressive and community driven as well as performance oriented. They care about aesthetics just as much as function. Behaviorally, they may research brands before purchasing. They want to connect emotionally with the brand values and look for clothing that reflects their identity. Comfort and convenience and price are important, but emotional connection and representation are equally significant to these people. So to help understand the target audience just a little bit more, I created some user personas. So I created Evelyn. who does hoop part-time as a hobby, and some of her challenges is that she can't justify spending large amounts and she needs coverage that prevents friction burns from aerial practice. The other user persona was Sebastian, who needed inclusive sizing and gender appropriate options for men, as there's limited inclusive options for him already. Then I had a look at the brand identity. So the key personality of Nova Farm is dynamic, but it is also confident and inspiring. The tone of voice is empowering, but it's not aggressive, and it speaks with clarity and strength. The name Nova originates from Latin, meaning new or extraordinary, symbolizing energy and transformation. Farm represents shape, movement, and physical expression. Together, Nova Farm represents evolving into your strongest, most confident self. The brand values center around creativity, self-expression, and inclusivity. So then I went on to logo development. So I created some initial designs, I did some word association, created some taglines, and then I started sketching out how it could look. So the ring around Nova has two meanings. So it's aerial hoop, but it's also to represent the burst out of a new star being born. So these were the iterations and how I refined it. So after getting feedback and looking at it again, the original text that I chose was a bit too childlike. So it would be better for Nova Farm if they built a children's wear brand for kids that do gymnastics, but it wasn't created for the targeted audience. So I had to relook at it and I chose a different font and kept the elegant text used for form. So the final logo that I created emphasizes Nova to create a bold visual impact, while Farm balances the composition. I ensured the logo works in multiple formats, so horizontal, small scale, and icon variation. This is to give it some versatility across clothing labels, packaging, and social media. So the strong design is there to represent the strength needed for the sports. The star is to represent Nova, with a ring around the word to symbolize an aerial hoop and the birth of a star. And then the form is there to show the fluidity and the elegance of the sports. So the typography and the color palette. So the brand typeface is Arial Nova. Is used as its typeface because it has a clean, modern, and legible aesthetic that aligns with activewear and performance branding. Its neutral design makes it suitable for an inclusive audience of all genders, which supports Nova Farm's core values of empowerment and self-expression. So the brand colours are Dusty Grape, Royal Blue, Misty Black and White. Dusty Grape creates uniqueness and depth. It also symbolises like luxury. Royal Blue gives it vibrancy and it also symbolises confidence. The Misty Black grounds the brand with strength, and the white gives it that clarity and balance. And then altogether, it creates a premium aesthetic, but it's also bold as well as controlled. So here's some color palette variations that could be used, and then ones that can't be used. So the black background should be avoided where possible in social media and websites, as it doesn't give the same vibrancy and energy as the white or purple background does. But it does work better for printed products though. So like when they get their items delivered, it gives it that idea of a luxury item being delivered. The brand applications, so these are the mock-ups. So I sketched and created some wireframes. So here are some clothing examples to get an idea of how Nova Farm could produce their branded line first and then develop more products without their name on it. So I picked colours that people preferred in the survey, so the dark and the neutral colours. I created some shirts and kept it gender neutral, so it wasn't form fitting, but it was still suitable for both genders. I created a hoodie even though they aren't advised to wear loose fitting clothing, you still want something to keep you warm to and from your active sessions. Same thing with the joggers, you want something to keep you warm going to and from your sport sessions. I also created some physical media mock-ups. So this is a business card that people could receive in their orders. And here's how the packaging could look. And this is a thank you for ordering card. It's there to make the user feel more connected to the brand and to make the order seem personal. So for the social media post, there's a variety of things that they could post. So the captions reflect that confident tone of voice. The posts use strong headlines and minimal layouts to highlight the products. So here is the website for the project. One of the strongest outcomes of this project was how clear and cohesive the brand identity was, from the logo and the color palette to the mock-ups. The visual language remained consistent across different applications, and it helps Novafarm feel like a realistic and fully developed brand rather than just a concept. So here's how it would look on a phone. So while creating this project, it definitely strengthened skills in branding and visual identity, and it really strengthened my research skills by analyzing competitors and identifying the gap in the market. Ultimately, Novafarm reflects the balance between performance and identity, a brand that is designed to move and is made to shine. So here is the references. If I was to improve it any further, I would just expand the range of the clothing and develop the website further, and then explore different fabrics and how I could make that clear on social media and websites and things like that. Thank you for listening.